I've got a thrift trip. This actually started a couple of weeks ago on another thrift trip where I found a $2 roll of double wallpaper. Add to that my love of botanicals, and I actually rewatched one of my favourite magical movies, and suddenly I'm knee deep in an impromptu, practically magic botanical kitchen makeover. So expect unexpected DIYs, enchanted thrifty finds, and a kitchen glow up full of charm, greenery, and just a hint of the regular chaos. So let's go thrifting now. This particular place where I was thrifting on this day is actually closing down. It's a lovely old Victorian house that has been there for obviously 150 years. It's on the waterfront. It's got a little bit of land. It's been there. I mean, I've been thrifting here for probably 25-30 years. It's been sold to developers, and this is probably the last summer where I'll be able to come here. So it's sad, obviously. It's a really great little place. I've bought some really brilliant things over the last few years, but I suppose time waits for no man, and I was hoping to find some bargains. I found a few things, and I went with a mission, because by the time I'd got here, we went on a Sunday afternoon, it was 40 degrees. The house was not air conditioned, so it was really, really hot. So I kind of gave you a quick tour of the different areas. I didn't cover the whole thing because, as I said, it was so warm. On the grounds they also have stalls, which I'll show you those as well, but I went with a mission. I'd already found my botanical wallpaper that I decided I was going to do a quick makeover for the fall in the kitchen. So I'm looking for copper, I'm looking for botanicals, I'm looking for jars, I'm looking for anything that's kind of lends itself to that vintage apothecary botanical look. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. As I said, I didn't find a great deal because the prices were on the high side, but I did pick up a few things. I've also got some DIYs, and then next week I will show you the complete makeover with all the DIYs and all the things that I've done to the kitchen to change it over. So let's continue with this thrift haul. So because I had a mission in mind, I was being very good actually, and it was, again, as I said, it was a little expensive. It always has been a little bit more expensive, but what I used to find with this place was you would see things locally. For example, a couple of years ago they had a big transferware dinner service at one of the local thrift shops, and I think it was on for $150. Which I would have bought, to be honest, because it was gorgeous. But what somebody did, the guy got in, and he was a dealer and he works out of this place, and he put it up for, I think it was $450. I don't think he sold it, to be honest, because it was there for months and months and months. But there are bargains to be had. If you remember that my curtain material, I picked that up at this place a few years ago, and as I said, I have picked up several items over the years that have been really exceptional items that have been either, there was a vintage Christmas tree I picked up which was gorgeous, there was the fabric, there was a tree stand. There's been things here and there that have been absolutely brilliant, so I will miss this place. Again, like anything else over the last couple of years, the prices have gone up, but I mean, if they don't sell it, I don't know what they'll do with it all. But I did pick up a few little items, and there were a few bargains to be had. So this was the wallpaper that I picked up, and I think in total I had 2.5 rolls. I had a double roll in one and then another roll which was maybe half a full size roll. You can see how beautiful it is. I had picked a colour from the wallpaper and had some paint mixed and decided to do a chair rail, and I painted the green below the chair rail. Actually, this is a picture rail because it's higher up on the wall. So I knew I didn't have enough to do the whole kitchen, so I sort of figured it out. I could do the picture rail and then paint below it and do the one part of the kitchen and then just paint the rest of the kitchen in the green. I had a whole idea in mind what I wanted to do, and then after watching Practical Magic I thought, oh god, yeah, that's it, I'm going to go very botanical and whimsical, and it has changed my kitchen so much. It is gorgeous. I love this wallpaper. I am painting all of the trim in the green, all the woodwork. I'm putting up new velvet curtains. So of course I didn't get all that done this week because, like I said, it was a last minute thing. I decided to do this and then I just ran off on a tangent. So I'm going to show you some of the DIYs that I made this week. This first DIY, this was a jewellery box I picked up a couple of years ago. I had originally painted it white and turned it into, it was like a French country style, and then I'd had this in my bedroom for a little while and I decided it needed to be black and it was going to be a botanical cabinet. So I painted it with 2 coats of black chalk paint. And obviously I've lost that footage, but it was white and now it's black. These are graphics from the Graphics Fairy. They are old French labels. They are for medicine bottles and they are for various like prescription labels. They are also from I use these on my little bottles that I did last week. So all I'm doing is I'm Mod Podging them onto the box, and then the inside of the box and in the drawers I'm going to be using more paper that I had. I think I got it from Temu, and that would have been sort of last year. It's just sitting in my stash, and I've got bugs, I've got insects, I've got mushrooms, I've got gardening, all sorts, butterflies, and so those are the ones that I'm going to be doing the same. I'm going to be Mod Podging them to inside of this little botanicals box. I'm saying botanicals, but it's more apothecary box. That's kind of the look I'm going for. Over the last few weeks I'd been picking up various glass items. I was going to change all my plastic containers to glass, and just happened to come across some really gorgeous vintage ones, so I've sort of gone with that theme, and that's kind of lent itself to that sort of Practical Magic makeover when I do my kitchen, or the rest of the kitchen. So you can see here I've put the labels on, and I'm just going to go over everything again with this antiquing wax, which again you can see use these a lot just to give everything a more worn and vintage look. So this was the original idea, to have this box to store these little vintage bottles that I'd made last week, but I decided I was going to add a shelf into it and make it more useful that way. So I found this piece of like a plywood, cut it to size, painted it all over, and then added it, and I'm just going to slot it in. It fits that tightly. There's not going to be any weight or anything in it. This is just for displaying items on one of my shelves. And as you can see, I've just put this really pretty decorative paper, again along with the same theme. I've put it on both the doors and on the inside. I've just cut the paper up and fitting it as I go, with a layer of Mod Podge underneath and a layer above, and this is the finished item. I'd wanted to change out the knobs, but I couldn't get the drawer handle knobs off, so I just painted them everything with the gold rub and buff. And I also put gold rub and buff just on, as you can see, on the outsides, on the corners and on all the edges, and it just adds to that vintage look. If you watched last week, you'll know that I did 3 miniatures with little Christmas pictures in on a piece of velvet ribbon. I picked these up at the flea markets. They were $1 each. They only had 3 left, so I grabbed all 3. They are little wooden carved pieces. So what I did was, I'm going to be adding them to my wall. I've put shells and butterflies in these 3 now, but I've got another idea planned for Halloween with these little pictures, and it's a really cool one. So I'm going to be reusing them. Once the kitchen makeover is done, I'm going to be reusing them for my fall and Halloween decorating. So what I've done is I've just traced the shape of the insert on these decorative papers, cut them out, slotted them back into the little picture frames. Once they were done, I decided they needed a little bit of glitz, so I have added some rub and buff. I've got a couple of different tones, and I just put it all over, and you can see here I just traced the shapes and put them in. As I said, I will be reusing these for my Halloween decor, but just putting it on my finger and rubbing it into all the raised areas on the frame and on all the decorative scroll work all the way around. And then once that is done, we're ready to go. What kitchen is complete without a pestle and mortar? Now, I do have one that I use often, but I don't have it on display. So I found this one for $1. I didn't like the awful trim that was added to it, and then when I took it off, the glue was a bit crappy underneath. So I decided to wrap it with some string and see how that looked. So all I did was I just grabbed some craft string, used my glue gun to sort of hold it in place, and wrapped it all the way around both the pestle and the mortar, and then just kept going. Tried to cover up as much as possible. It was quite light, the string. I didn't have any thick string that I could find, so I used this quite narrow one. So it took a little while to fill it all in, and then once it was finished, it was too stark. So what I did was I took some black craft paint with a little bit of water, and then just covered the rope with that, and I did the same on the on both pieces, and that's it. We're finished. Now, this is just for display purposes. I'm not going to be using this, so it doesn't matter that it's old and it's a bit grubby. It's just to put on the shelf. Like I said, I've got some new shelves that I'm putting up in the kitchen, so it's all going to be part of the aesthetic that I'm going for. Something that I do year round. I've got lots of botanical art that I've made already, but I wanted more with these little sheets of paper. So I've got a couple of trays out of my stash. These are usually $1, 50 cents, $2. I'm painting them both close to the colour that's in the background of the paper that I'm using. And as you can see, I've painted the tray, then I've laid the paper inside, stuck it down with a layer of Mod Podge, and then I'm going over this one with like a bronze paint that's got a touch of black in it. I've gone all the way around the outside of the tray and then on the inside of the tray to blend the picture in. I've also touched up on the actual paper just to give it a continuity of the same colours, and then I've tipped everything with some gold rub and buff. This little tray, which I got for I think it was 50 cents, I've done a similar thing, and then I've covered everything with a layer of Mod Podge, so these can be hung up or they can be put in plate stands, but they look really cool and they can obviously also be used as little trays. So I wanted to take you back to the kitchen and show you the progress. As I said, I didn't really mean to do this. I saw this wallpaper, I picked it up, I didn't know where I was going to put it. I unrolled it and I thought, oh God, how gorgeous would this look in the kitchen. Originally I was going to do one feature wall, but then when I looked around I thought, you know what, it would benefit from being above the picture rail. So we made the picture rail and then I painted below the picture rail with this gorgeous green that I matched to the wallpaper. So I had the green made specifically from sample of the wallpaper. This wallpaper is gorgeous, it's dark, it's moody, it's completely changed the look of the kitchen. And with the chair rail then, and I've picked up a load of extra shelving, and I'm trying to put glass, I was trying to change everything over to glass bottles anyway, and I've been picking things up for the last little while, and then it all sort of played into this look of sort of botanical apothecary, dark and moody kitchen. It is gorgeous. Everybody loves this wallpaper. It's been a big hit. So I've taken these gorgeous vintage jars that I found, all embossed, the lids are embossed and they're glass as well. I've given them all a good wash. I am cleaning off the actual screw lids, and I'm going to try and find a really nice copper paint. If I can't do that, I will spray them gold, but all the lids will be the same gold colour, so there will be that continuity, and then I'm going to try and display on the shelf, so look out for that. That'll be in next week's episode. So thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like button, give a thumbs up and subscribe if you are enjoying the videos and you haven't subscribed already. So have a great week and come back next time for the finished kitchen makeover.